What if meeting your Naseeb does not begin when they enter your life? What if it begins much earlier, when Allah starts changing what you tolerate, what you pray for, what you lose, and what your heart is finally ready to receive? You may be looking for signs around you, but sometimes the first signs appear inside you. And these 5 changes may completely change the way you understand your waiting season. 1. You stop chasing people who give you confusion. Before Allah brings the right person into your life, one powerful change may happen inside your heart. You become tired of chasing people who keep you confused. You stop making excuses for someone who gives you attention one day and distance the next. You stop calling mixed signals love, and you stop believing that you must fight for someone who is not willing to choose you clearly. Slowly, you begin to understand that real love should not constantly destroy your peace. A serious person will not keep you trapped between hope and doubt without direction. This does not mean every relationship will be perfect, but it does mean you start valuing clarity, respect, honesty, and halal intention more than temporary attention. You begin to protect your heart instead of handing it to anyone who makes you feel wanted for a moment. And this change is powerful because sometimes Allah prepares you for better by first teaching you to stop accepting less. You no longer ask, "How can I make them stay?" You begin asking, "Is this connection bringing me closer to Allah and toward a healthy future?" That is when your heart starts becoming ready for something more peaceful, serious, and meaningful. 2. Your dua becomes different. As your heart becomes more mature, the way you make dua for marriage may begin to change. At first, you may desperately ask Allah for one specific person because you believe they are exactly what you need. But slowly, you begin to understand that Allah sees what you cannot see. You stop saying, "Ya Allah, give me this person no matter what," and start saying, "Ya Allah, if this person is good for my deen, my heart, my future, and my akhirah, bring them closer to me. But if they are not good for me, remove them and give me what is better." This is a powerful level of trust because you are no longer trying to control the answer to your dua. You still desire marriage, you still hope for love, and you still pray sincerely, but you place the final decision with Allah. Your heart becomes more interested in receiving the right person than simply receiving the person you want. You begin asking for a spouse who brings peace, respects your faith, protects your dignity, and helps you become closer to Allah. When your dua changes from attachment to surrender, your heart becomes stronger because you finally understand that Allah's choice for you can be better than anything you could have chosen for yourself. 3. You start working on the person you are becoming. Before meeting your Naseeb, one of the most powerful changes may happen inside you. Instead of only asking, "When will I meet the right person?" you begin asking, "Am I becoming the right person too?" You start noticing the habits, emotions, weaknesses, and attitudes that could affect your future marriage. You become more aware of how you speak when you are angry, how quickly you judge, how you handle disappointment, how well you communicate, and how strong your relationship with Allah really is. This kind of self-awareness is important because marriage does not automatically fix what is broken inside a person. In many cases, marriage reveals what was already there. If you carry insecurity, pride, poor communication, uncontrolled anger, or unrealistic expectations into marriage, those things can become heavier when 2 lives are joined together. So you begin working on yourself before asking another person to build a life with you. You learn patience instead of reacting to everything immediately. You learn to apologize when you are wrong instead of protecting your ego. You become more responsible with your time, money, words, and decisions. You begin strengthening your salah, making better choices, protecting your boundaries, and becoming more honest about what kind of marriage you actually want. You stop expecting a future spouse to heal every wound, remove every fear, and make you happy every moment. Instead, you understand that a healthy marriage needs 2 people who are willing to grow, forgive, communicate, and return to Allah when life becomes difficult. This change can completely transform the way you think about Naseeb. You no longer look for someone simply because they are attractive, charming, or emotionally exciting. You begin looking deeper. You care about character, faith, respect, emotional maturity, responsibility, and whether this person can walk with you towards something meaningful. At the same time, you begin building those qualities within yourself. You understand that preparing for marriage is not only about waiting for someone to arrive, it is also about preparing your heart so that when the right opportunity comes, you do not destroy something good because you refuse to grow. Sometimes Allah changes your inner world before He changes your outer situation. The waiting season may be teaching you patience, discipline, self-respect, and trust. So do not waste this period only wondering when your Naseeb will appear. Use it to become stronger, wiser, calmer, and closer to Allah. Because one of the greatest gifts you can bring into a future marriage is not perfection. It is a heart that is willing to learn, improve, and keep choosing what is right even when love becomes difficult. 4. Wrong doors begin closing. Before you meet your Naseeb, one of the hardest things you may experience is the closing of doors you were certain would stay open. A person you deeply wanted may suddenly become distant. A connection that once felt full of promise may stop moving forward. Someone you imagined a future with may choose a different path. You may make dua, wait, hope, and try to understand what went wrong, yet the answer still seems to be no. In that moment, it can feel like you are losing something important. But sometimes, what feels like rejection may actually be Allah protecting you from a road you were never meant to remain on. The difficult part is that you usually cannot see the full reason when the door closes. You only see your feelings. You remember the conversations, the dreams, the plans, and the future you created in your mind. You may ask, why would Allah let me care so much if this person was not meant for me? But feelings alone do not prove that someone is right for your future. You can deeply want something and still not know what it would eventually cost you. Allah knows the character you have not yet seen, the problems that have not yet appeared, the circumstances that may change, and the effect a relationship could have on your faith, peace, and future. This is why a closed door should not always be seen as punishment. Sometimes Allah removes access to something because continuing toward it would hurt you more than losing it now. You may be asking Him to reopen a door while He is protecting you from what is behind it. You may think the delay is destroying your chances of happiness, while Allah may be saving you from entering a marriage that would have slowly taken away your peace. There are things you cannot know before they happen, but Allah is never limited by what you can see today. You may also notice that certain relationships begin to expose themselves before marriage. Someone who appeared serious becomes inconsistent. Someone who spoke beautifully refuses to take a real halal step. Someone who promised commitment avoids responsibility when things become serious. Their actions start answering questions that your emotions were afraid to ask. This can hurt, but clarity is a mercy. It is better to discover instability before marriage than after you have built your entire life around it. Sometimes the wrong door closes because Allah is teaching you not to confuse attachment with destiny. Just because you cannot imagine life without someone does not mean they were written to remain in it. Attachment can make you hold on to people long after the connection has stopped bringing goodness. You begin fighting for their attention, checking their messages, analyzing every word, and hoping one small sign will prove that everything will work out. You may even begin losing yourself while trying not to lose them. But a healthy path toward marriage should not require you to abandon your dignity just to keep someone interested. This is where your heart begins to change. Instead of asking, how can I make this person choose me? You start asking, why am I chasing a door Allah keeps allowing to close? That question can be painful, but it can also free you. You begin to understand that your future should not depend on convincing someone to see your value. If marriage is going to happen in a healthy way, there must eventually be clarity, intention, responsibility, and willingness from both sides. A closed door can also remove distractions from your life. Sometimes you become so emotionally focused on one person that you stop growing. Your salah becomes weaker because your thoughts are constantly occupied with them. Your mood depends on whether they contacted you. Your peace rises and falls according to their attention. You begin building your entire emotional world around another human being. When that door closes, the silence may feel unbearable at first, but it can create space for you to return to Allah, rebuild yourself, and remember who you were before that attachment controlled your heart. This season can teach you something powerful. Not everything you lose is a loss. Some things leave so that you can finally see how much of yourself you had given away. Some people disappear so you can rebuild boundaries. Some plans fail so you stop trying to control every detail of your future. Some relationships end because you need to learn what love should never require from you. Noob and Dissenteen, we may also begin noticing that when one wrong door closes, other areas of your life start opening. Your mind becomes clearer. You reconnect with family. You become more focused on your goals. You start improving your deen. You feel less anxious. You begin sleeping without constantly wondering where you stand with someone. At first, you may still miss them, but slowly you notice that peace is returning. This does not automatically mean another person is about to appear. It simply means Allah may be teaching you that your peace was never supposed to depend completely on one human being. There is also a deep lesson in unanswered attempts. Maybe you tried to make the connection halal, but the other person was not ready. Maybe families could not agree. Maybe circumstances kept preventing progress. Maybe you prayed istikhara, and things became more difficult instead of easier. Not every difficulty means you should immediately walk away, and not every obstacle proves that someone is wrong for you. But when a situation continuously requires you to compromise your faith, dignity, peace, or basic values, it deserves serious reflection. You should never force every closed door open simply because you are afraid no other door will come. Fear can make you settle for less than what you prayed for. It can make you accept disrespect because you think being alone is worse. It can make you call emotional pain patience when you are actually refusing to accept reality. Real tawakkul means trusting that Allah is not limited to the person you currently want. His ability to write goodness for you does not end because one relationship failed. Think about this carefully. If one person leaving can completely destroy your belief that a good future is still possible, then perhaps your heart had begun depending too much on that person and not enough on Allah. Your Naseeb, if marriage is written for you, is not something you have to steal from someone else, beg into existence, or force through constant anxiety. What Allah has written will come through the path He allows, at the time He chooses, in the way He knows is best. This does not mean you should sit passively and expect marriage to fall into your life without effort. Islam teaches responsibility. You can make dua, seek suitable proposals, involve family, take halal steps, and make wise decisions. But effort and desperation are not the same thing. You can pursue marriage without losing your peace. You can care about someone without making them your entire world. You can hope for a particular outcome while still saying, Ya Allah, if this is not good for me, protect me from it. And sometimes that prayer is answered by a door closing. The strange thing is that months or years later, you may look back and understand what you could not understand while you were crying. You may see clearly why that person was not right for you. You may discover something about them that you never knew. You may realize how much you changed after they left. Or you may simply reach a place where your heart says, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not give me everything I once begged for. That realization is powerful because it teaches you to trust Allah even before you understand His wisdom. So if a door has closed, do not immediately believe your story is over. Do not assume you missed the only person you could ever marry. Do not measure Allah's plan by one disappointment. Sometimes He removes what you were holding on to because your hands need to be free for what comes next. Sometimes He protects you by making something impossible. Sometimes He teaches you through separation. And sometimes He closes a door simply because continuing through it was never going to lead where you hoped. Your job is not to know every hidden reason. Your job is to respond with faith, wisdom, and self-respect. Grieve what you need to grieve. Learn what you need to learn. Make dua. Ask Allah for clarity. Take responsibility for your own mistakes. But do not spend your entire life standing in front of a door that has already closed, begging it to become your future. Because while you are staring at what did not work, Allah may be preparing you for a path you have not even seen yet. And one day, you may realize that the closed door was not the end of your love story. It was the protection that allowed the right chapter to begin. 5. You feel more peaceful about Allah's timing. One of the deepest changes that may happen before you meet your Naseeb is that your heart becomes less desperate and more peaceful about Allah's timing. You still want marriage. You still make dua. You still hope to meet someone who will love you with honesty, respect you, protect your dignity, and walk with you toward Allah. But something inside you begins to settle. You stop feeling as if your life is falling behind simply because marriage has not happened yet. You begin to understand that delay does not automatically mean denial, and waiting does not mean Allah has forgotten you. At one point, you may have looked at everyone around you and wondered why their lives seem to be moving faster than yours. Someone gets engaged. Someone else gets married. Another person announces that they have found the one they were praying for. You smile for them, but deep inside you feel a quiet pain. You ask yourself, when will it be my turn? You may even begin questioning your worth. You wonder if something is wrong with you, if you are too late, or if you somehow missed the person who was meant for you. But as your trust in Allah grows, those thoughts begin losing their power over you. You start realizing that another person's timing has nothing to do with your own. Someone getting married before you does not mean they received something that was supposed to be yours. Someone finding love earlier does not mean your future is becoming smaller. Allah does not run out of blessings. He does not need to take from one person to give to another. What He has written for you cannot be accidentally delivered to someone else. This understanding gives your heart room to breathe. You also stop treating marriage like the final proof that your life has value. Marriage is beautiful, but it is not the only sign that Allah is pleased with you. Being single does not mean you are forgotten, rejected, or incomplete. Your worth is not waiting for another human being to arrive and confirm it. You already have a relationship with Allah, a purpose, responsibilities, opportunities to grow, and a life that deserves to be lived fully right now. When you understand this, you stop putting your entire happiness on hold until marriage happens. That is a powerful shift, because desperation can make people accept what they would normally reject. When you are terrified of being alone, you may overlook red flags. You may tolerate disrespect because you are afraid the person will leave. You may call confusion patience. You may stay attached to someone who has shown no serious intention because the thought of starting over feels too painful. You may even convince yourself that a harmful relationship is your Naseeb, simply because you want the waiting to end. But when your heart becomes peaceful with Allah's timing, you stop rushing into doors simply because they are open. You become more careful about who you allow close to you. You stop saying yes because of fear and start asking whether something is actually good for your deen, character, peace, and future. You understand that being unmarried for a little longer can be far better than spending years inside the wrong marriage. Peace with Allah's timing does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean you stop making dua, refuse good opportunities, or expect your future spouse to appear without any effort. You can still take halal steps. You can speak to family. You can consider proposals. You can ask trusted people for help. You can make istihara and seek advice. Tawakkul is not doing nothing. It is doing what you can while knowing that the final outcome belongs to Allah. The difference is that your effort is no longer controlled by panic. You stop waking up every morning wondering whether today is the day you finally meet someone. You stop reading meaning into every conversation, every glance, every coincidence, and every new person who enters your life. Not every encounter is a sign. Not every strong feeling is destiny. Not every person you connect with is your future spouse. When your heart becomes calmer, you can see people more clearly instead of forcing them into the story you desperately want. This peace can also change the way you make dua. Instead of saying, Ya Allah, I need marriage now, your heart becomes capable of saying, Ya Allah, give it to me when it is good for me. Protect me from what I cannot see. Prepare me for what I am asking for, and do not let my impatience lead me towards something that will harm me. That dua requires trust, because you are no longer demanding your preferred schedule. You are asking Allah to choose the right time as well as the right person. Sometimes the answer to your dua may require preparation that you cannot see. Perhaps you need to heal from an old attachment so that you do not carry it into your marriage. Perhaps you need to become more emotionally mature. Perhaps you need to learn how to communicate without anger, how to set boundaries without cruelty, or how to forgive without losing yourself. Perhaps the person you may one day marry is also going through a season of growth. You do not know what Allah is arranging in lives you have never even entered. This is why timing matters. Imagine receiving the right person at the wrong stage of your life. You might not recognize their value. You might push them away because you are still emotionally attached to someone else. You might bring unhealthy habits into the relationship and damage something that could have been beautiful. Sometimes a blessing requires a version of you that does not exist yet. The waiting period may not be empty at all. It may be the very place where Allah develops the character you will need later. You begin to see that waiting can have purpose. It gives you time to strengthen your salah, understand yourself, improve your character, build stability, learn responsibility, and become clearer about what kind of marriage you want. Instead of asking only, where is my Naseeb, you begin asking, what should I be learning while I wait? That question makes the waiting season useful instead of painful. There may still be difficult days. Trusting Allah does not mean you never feel lonely. You may still wish you had someone beside you. You may still attend weddings and feel a small ache inside. You may still return home and wonder when your own chapter will begin. Faith does not erase every human emotion. The difference is that your emotions no longer decide what you believe about Allah. You can feel lonely without believing you have been abandoned. You can want marriage without believing you must have it immediately. You can feel disappointed without assuming Allah has rejected your dua. You can have unanswered questions while still trusting the one who knows every answer. That is real growth. As this peace deepens, comparison begins leaving your heart. You stop measuring yourself against the friend who married at 22, the cousin who got engaged quickly, or the person online whose life looks perfect. You begin understanding that marriage is not a race. Finishing earlier does not mean finishing better. A fast marriage is not automatically a happy marriage, and a delayed marriage is not automatically a bad sign. What matters is not whether your story looks like someone else's. What matters is whether you are walking through your own story with faith and wisdom. You also become more protective of your peace. You stop allowing relatives, friends, or society to make you feel ashamed for being unmarried. People may ask uncomfortable questions. They may say, "Why are you still single?" or "When are you getting married?" They may speak as if you are responsible for controlling every detail of your future, but their questions begin to affect you less because you know that they do not hold your Qadr. People can have opinions about your timeline, but they cannot write it. That belongs to Allah. And when you truly believe that, the pressure becomes lighter. Another beautiful change is that you begin enjoying the life Allah has already given you. You stop saying, "I will be happy when I get married." You allow yourself to grow now. You spend time with family. You build meaningful friendships. You pursue useful goals. You take care of your health. You serve others. You learn more about your deen. You become grateful for the blessings that are already present, instead of allowing one unanswered dua to hide everything Allah has already given you. This does not weaken your desire for marriage. It purifies it. You no longer want a spouse because you expect them to rescue you from your own life. You want a spouse because you hope to build something good together. You want companionship, mercy, responsibility, growth, and a home that brings you closer to Allah. That is very different from needing someone to fill every empty space inside you. The more peaceful you become, the more you understand that your Naseeb is not something you have to chase with fear. If marriage is written for you, you still need to take wise steps, but you do not need to destroy yourself trying to control what only Allah controls. You do not need to compare every person you meet. You do not need to beg someone who has already shown you they are not serious. You do not need to lower your standards because you think time is running out. You can wait with dignity. You can hope without desperation. You can make dua without demanding. You can desire marriage without making it your entire identity. And perhaps that is one of the strongest forms of preparation. Because when you stop fearing Allah's timing, you become capable of recognizing what is actually good, instead of grabbing whatever appears first. So if your marriage has not happened yet, do not immediately call the waiting a punishment. You do not know what Allah is protecting you from, preparing you for, or developing inside you. Keep making dua. Keep taking halal steps. Keep improving yourself. Keep asking Allah for someone who is good for your dunya and your akhirah. But do not let the waiting convince you that your life has stopped. Your story is already happening. Your growth is already happening. Your relationship with Allah is already happening. And if one day the person written for you enters your life, you may look back at this season and finally understand why some things had to take longer. Until then, protect your heart from panic and keep it connected to Allah. Because peace does not come from knowing exactly when your Naseeb will arrive. It comes from knowing that Allah knows when. Maybe your Naseeb is not late. Maybe Allah is simply preparing your heart so deeply that when the right person comes, you will recognize peace instead of confusion, sincerity instead of attention, and commitment instead of empty promises. So do not waste this season asking only, when will they come? Ask yourself, who am I becoming while I wait? Keep making dua. Keep protecting your heart. Keep improving your character. Keep trusting Allah even when you cannot see what He is arranging. Because when the right door finally opens, you may understand why the wrong ones had to close first. And until that day comes, remember this. Your peace is not in knowing who your Naseeb is. Your peace is in knowing that Allah already knows,